You know, one of my favorite horror genres is taking a cutesy kids movie or show or book and turning it into something much more disturbing. The issue with this very small genre is most examples are either creepypastas that, come on, let's be honest, weren't really that great. Though I do still like this Godzilla one, even though it's especially silly. While more mainstream examples aren't really that much better. I give the creepypastas a pass since most of them are written by young writers just stretching their skills, where actual money was put down on some of these abominations. However, there are some creations out there that I say are shining examples of the genre done right. It's just a fascinating concept to create something so terrifying from something originally made for children. I bring this up because this particular character I'm going to talk about, I'm not 100% convinced was not designed to be terrifying.
I'm the mayor, H.R. PufnStuff.
H.R. PufnStuff.
What is he supposed to be? He looks like a chimera of Kermit, Mayor McCheese, and a cowboy with insomnia.
Oh dare, oh dare, oh dare.
H.R. PufnStuff was created by the Croft brothers, Sid and Marty, for the Hemisphere in 1968. The brothers were talented puppeteers, designing a number of characters and sets for kids shows, including Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, The Land of the Lost, and the Banana Splits. Yes, that Banana Splits. At one point, they even had their own amusement park in Atlanta, Georgia, but that sadly closed only 5 months later due to it being in a rough part of town, on top of the rides constantly breaking down. Man, what bullshit, I totally would have gone to LSD Island here. Oh, speaking of which, they were accused of using drugs. I can't imagine why. Marty stated in an interview, "No drugs involved. You can't do drugs when you're making shows. Maybe after, but not during. We're bizarre, that's all." Boy, do I feel that bizarre line, and much respect to you, Sid and Marty, but PufnStuff is terrifying, and I'm gonna make fun of it. The movie opens with a song, and it was at this point I realized this goddamn movie was a musical. And it is so, so very 60s, and it is beautiful. Well, you're not gonna get there in time fucking around on a swing and running in slow motion, Jimmy. 12 hours later, he reaches a school where the band class is playing outside and promptly makes an ass out of himself by taking a header into a drum.
He kicked me. I didn't kick him. You little bully, you.
How did this teacher miss Jimmy having a spaz attack right in front of her? And you're telling me we're supposed to believe this 70-pound middle schooler bullied this 19-year-old and this 70s dad?
I'm expelling you from the band.
No, please don't drop me from the band, Miss Flick.
Well, it's great to know that even back then, people who hated kids became teachers. Why? Why did you become a teacher if you fucking hate kids? Like, I don't like cockroaches, so I don't work at a cockroach factory. I'm not comparing kids to cockroaches. I'm just saying, if you don't like something, why would you work with them?
If we make good at the Saturday Elks breakfast, it could mean the big time.
Well, damn, poor Jimmy. He's gonna miss out on a bunch of creepy old dudes who are too touchy and insist that you sit on their laps while they tell you their war stories. Man.
And a 1 and a 2.
Boo! Boo! I boo you children! You children that are under 12! Boo, you 12-year-olds! Jimmy sadly sulks away back to the woods where he has a mental break and starts talking to his flute. Oh god, it's starting.
Oh! Blimey! What's happening?
That's your reaction? Oh god, don't pick it up.
Hi, Jimmy.
You can talk.
Yeah, exactly! And wash your hands. Ew. The demon flute convinces Jimmy to be his friend, and all he has to do is blow the flute. I am kidding, but knowing my audience and the shit we have seen in the past, not a single one of you batted an eye at that statement.
Do you have a name? Of course. It's Freddy.
Of course the evil flute is named Freddy. Freddy Fluter. Fruger. No, I like Fluter better.
Then what are we waiting for, pal? Let's go have some fun.
You bet.
You really need to be asking more questions of this demon flute that you accepted so quickly. Like, what if its version of fun is torturing small animals? Follow-up questions are required here, Jimmy.
I found a friend in you.
Oh my god, this is so sad. Jimmy must be such a lonely child. Not only does he befriend a possessed inanimate object with basically zero pushback, he's letting it lead him deep into the forest. I just realized how easily this plot could become a horror one with just the slightest bit of tweaking, which is really not something that should be that easy going from kids movie to horror movie. After the best friend song that's clearly used to stretch out the movie's length, Jimmy sees a talking boat who calls out to them.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Freddie.
That boat spoke to us.
Well, let's not be unfriendly.
My god, the fact that this little lemming has not been kidnapped before this is astonishing.
Let's go have a chat with him.
Do you see what? Am I the only one? This neglected child has just been lured onto a boat by a creature with unknown but undoubtedly sinister motives and is taking him into international waters. Jimmy's organs are about to be harvested! Out of nowhere, Witchiepoo, the main antagonist of the film, makes her grand appearance, and oh look, she's a crazy bird lady too.
That gorgeous golden flute will make me the talk of all Witchdom.
Golden? I was looking right at the fucking thing and did not realize it was gold. Then again, it's like a solar eclipse. You don't really want to look at it with your bare eyes. Witchiepoo turns the boat evil, well, more evil, as you can see these monster hands aggressively groping this child, and directs the molester boat to her canvas-painted castle. Do you see how easy this plot can turn into a horror movie? And how did Witchiepoo find out about the gold flute when Jimmy discovered it like seconds ago? Don't spring him on us like that. We need to be eased in to whatever the fuck that is. And how long was he watching Jimmy get felt up by the pervert boat before he decided to do something?
Oh, dare, oh, dare, oh, dare.
Mayor PufnStuff calls two more nightmare creatures for help, and they race to the shore because drowned kid meat is just too gamey. I'm sorry for all the dark jokes. I know it's not usually my brand, but you see this, right? This and the Hug-a-Bunch movie were what inspired me to do the Unintentionally Terrifying series. But I put this one off because I needed some time to prepare to revisit it. Not just because it's really freaking creepy, but it's also boring. Jimmy manages to escape the boat only to wind up in an even bigger nightmare.
Why doesn't that lucky dragon mind his own business?
What? PufnStuff is supposed to be a dragon? In what universe is this supposed to be a dragon? This lizard ginger nut stripper is supposed to be a dragon. Ew, is that the way PufnStuff walks?
He looks off. I wonder who he is.
Where am I?
You're in hell, son, and I'm the shepherd who will guide you to eternal damnation.
Pleased to meet you.
Wow, Jimmy must have swallowed a lot of salt water and he just thinks he's drowning and this is just some dying hallucination. So I guess he might as well roll with it. God, can you imagine if this was the last thing that you saw before you died? I would want my money back.
Are we gonna fight back?
We sure are.
Witchiepoo then chokes on the ping pong ball and the movie slowly shifts into the plot of Jawbreaker.
On a rock!
That bitch! It's impressive that out of everyone on this island, Jimmy managed to be saved by three of the most incompetent dumbasses on said island. I would say that these idiots should cut their losses and run for cover, but there's only so far you can run on Soundstage Island.
Gosh, I was scared.
You weren't the only one.
All clear. What's up?
Stop springing these horrifying things on us! This is the island of misfit nightmares.
That alarm clock. It talks.
Hey Jimmy, I need you to fucking focus here for a second. You are holding a talking flute next to an insomniac McDouble on an island you got to on a talking boat that groped you. A talking alarm clock is the least weirdest thing that you have seen today. I mean, it's not even weird in general. Look, I grew up with one. It talked to me. It would even sing me happy birthday on my birthday. It doesn't work anymore. Bad face.
Everything around here talks. That's why we call this Living Island.
Terrific.
Hard disagree, Jimmy.
Living Island is a...
Nope. Yeah, I'm sparing you the rest of the song because one, this movie is owned by Universal Studios and there ain't no way I can get away with playing it, and two, it's terrible and lasts short of forever while they parade the gross denizens of this island at us. At least when Pee-wee's Playhouse had weird shit in it, it was endearing and it really leaned into the weirdness. The only thing this movie is doing is triggering my fight, flight, or freeze response. And unfortunately, it chose froze. So, I'm still here. Wow, they did not even try to hide the fact that they used the Universal logo to show the Earth. You assholes couldn't tie a globe to fishing wire and just, like, spin it?
We PufnStuff and all his friends.
So this song is 3.5 minutes long, and I know what you're thinking. Isn't that, like, normal for a musical? Yes, but the difference between Ariel singing Part of Your World and this is that it felt way longer than 3.5 minutes. I was actually shocked that it was only 3.5 because it felt like it was closer to 7. It just wouldn't stop.
PufnStuff was taking that brat Jimmy into his cave. I'm going to get that flute, or my name isn't Wilhelmina W. Witchiepoo.
She and her minions kind of remind me of the old Power Ranger villains. You know, very Rita Repulsa. I think that's what her name was.
What's the W stand for?
The W stands for...
Calling it now, Witchiepoo is the real good guy. I mean, I already like her way more than anybody else in this fucking movie. Since Witchiepoo's magic doesn't work in PufnStuff's cave for reasons, she uses her magic to turn into a go-go dancer, sure, and transports to PufnStuff's cave. I cannot believe I just said that sentence.
There, how does that fit, son?
Terrific, thanks, Puff.
Hey, Puff, why do you have a little boy's clothing at the ready in your cave?
Maybe that's the witch.
This cave is witch-proof. The only way that old hag can get in is if I let her in.
So Puff answers the door and she lets herself in without him inviting her in. God damn it! You wrote that line about her not being able to come in without being invited. You could have either deleted that or added in a line, hey, why don't you come on in? I hope Witchiepoo melts his face off. Witchiepoo then just picks up the flute and dances out the door with it, all while these two assholes just stand there not comprehending the blatantly obvious.
It's dangerous to be out there. The witch might get you.
Who do you think I am? Little Orphan Annie?
Why does she know what Little Orphan Annie is? Does she go to the mainland a lot? Does she hit up the bars with the spider, the bat, and the... I think it's supposed to be a vulture?
Good grief, it was the witch.
Nothing gets by you, Sherlock Puff. The two give chase after Witchiepoo, which makes one wonder why she doesn't just teleport away because we've seen her do that just a few minutes ago. Then she gets on her vroom vroom, yes, that's what it's called, and takes to the sky and turns into a plane for like 2 seconds and then back again. Couldn't somebody reach into the other pocket and pull out a 10, or did all the budget of this movie go to cleaning the PufnStuff costume of all the children's souls it devoured over the centuries?
Please, Puff, we gotta do something before it's too late.
We better go see Dr. Blinky.
Is there a single fucking creature on this island that does not look like a sleep paralysis demon?
We have to hurry. Freddy's so tiny, he can't stand much torture.
Who said anything about torture, Jimmy? Yeah, for once I agree with PufnStuff here. That's the look of, oh my god, I let that little psycho into my house.
Well, what if the witch thought her castle was on fire?
Why, she'd send for the fire department, and I'm the island fire chief.
Oh, of course, a witch with magic powers would call the fire department ran by her arch nemesis instead of just putting it out herself. Guys, just light a real fire. You're the bad guys. Nobody believes you're the good guys. I mean, have you looked at each other?
Well, of course.
God, it must be so easy to scam these people. And it's not a number of if, it's how many MLMs do you think these people are stuck in? Back at the castle, Witchiepoo is admiring the flute when her best friend Witch Hazel calls. Kinda seems like she adores the little demon flute. She's not torturing him or even being slightly mean to him. It's the opposite. It's a step up for the flute in my opinion. Not only do you get to live in a castle, your best friend is a funny witch with magic powers.
Fire! Fire!
What?
Yeah, that's an appropriate reaction to this asinine ploy.
Galloping Goonies, look! The castle's on fire!
So we're all in agreement that their real plan is to kill the witch and her minions with smoke inhalation. Right? The minions panic seeing the smoke and lower the drawbridge, giving the real villains of this story a chance to break in. Then these monsters cause so much damage inside the castle, it literally falls apart. Jimmy then assaults the witch and her friends before leaving. Let's review what this was a reaction to. Witchiepoo pretended to be a go-go dancer and took Freddy without destroying anything or hurting anyone. Yeah, Freddy doesn't want to be there, but she didn't hurt him and he's a demon flute, so who cares? Their reaction was to physically assault the witch and her friends, destroy her home and everything in it. They're the bad guys.
Oh, why didn't I listen to Mother? And marry a nice, reliable werewolf?
The villains return to the village and sing yet another awful song about how great their attempted murder was. Here's where you think the movie would end, but no. We're only halfway done. This movie just won't end. The mailman shows up, who happens to be a pelican, which pisses off PufnStuf because God forbid anyone do their actual job on this island, Mr. Mayor.
You're interrupting a very important meeting.
The thing that he interrupted, by the way, was a song about how great PufnStuf is.
Say that again. The part about the sleet and the snow.
Boy, do I appreciate this story constantly throwing grosser and grosser things our way for no reason other than plot convenience. Either this movie is just 2 episodes of the show smashed together and packaged as a movie, or this whole movie is a waste of time. I guess it could be both.
You're going to smuggle Jimmy and Freddy off the island.
How?
Wait, did he say smuggle? Is everybody on this island trapped there? Were all these things once human who wound up on the island and eventually turned into these carbuncles? Meanwhile, Witchiepoo and her friends are literally crying in dismay at what Jimmy and his Nightmare Brigade did to the castle.
Just look at this mess. The castle's wrecked.
How am I supposed to root for Jimmy and the others when they reacted in such a crazy, disproportionate way? As if things can't get any worse for her, the boss witch calls to inform her she's having the witches' convention at Witchiepoo's house instead of wherever the hell it was before. You know, after the initial shock of these disgusting creatures, the movie is just horribly boring. Witchiepoo decides to take her revenge and bombs the living shit out of the town. And you know what? Good for her. Hashtag Living Island had it coming. Look, I just really don't fucking like these things. Actually, this is quite a gamble she's taking. What if she accidentally blows up the flute?
She's gonna destroy the whole island!
Well, of course, maybe the west wind can help us.
Yeah, sure, Pocahontas, you can talk to the wind.
There he is. Hi, West Wind.
Howdy, partner.
Fine.
Relax, partners. I just had her off at the pass.
God, and here I thought my impersonations were terrible. I mean, they are. So John Wayne Wind blows at Witchiepoo, causing a horrific crash that took the lives of all on board. Well, they don't die, but you wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. I'm so glad that these characters can just pull powers and godlike entities out of their asses. It just really adds to the non-tension of the plot. I can't help but feel sorry for Witchiepoo. I mean, I haven't seen the show because I can't do it. So maybe she's more of like a little shit in the show. It appears she's just desperate to pull herself up in her social circle and going about it the wrong way. Then when she fails, she gets all depressed and cries and then lashes out at her friends. Our villain is a depressed bipolar witch. She needs medication and a support system to make her life better, not a talking demon flute. Fuck, now I'm losing it.
What a mess. We're really lucky nobody was hurt.
Damn it, I mean, yeah. Great. So glad the walking clock made it out. Yeah, it would be a real loss to this island. Not even one. The town go back into PufnStuff's cave to have a disaster meeting and hopefully be victims of a cave-in, while Jimmy decides it's best if he and the stupid flute leave to protect the villagers from the witch. You can always just destroy the thing, Jimmy. There's an option. I love the way Jimmy is running here because it looks less like he's running away to protect his friends, and more like he chewed through the ropes and escaped the town.
Look who's here! Witchiepoo!
I am so beaten down by this movie, I'm actually happy to see Witchiepoo and her friends on the screen.
I've heard about the birds and the bees, but this is ridiculous. A flower just isn't safe around here.
What the fuck does that mean? The idiot townsfolk finally realize that Jimmy is missing and all go outside to look for him in a tight cluster right outside the cave and are immediately zapped, frozen by Witchiepoo.
What happened to Jimmy and Freddie?
They came out of the cave calling for Jimmy and asking where he was. Does everybody in this town eat lead paint every day?
Oh, I'll take the whole kit and caboodle of you back to my castle and torture it out of you!
Oh yes, please do. Do you take suggestions? Because you know there's always the classics like the Rack or the Iron Maiden, but if you really want to zhuzh it up, I would suggest the Brazen Bull or my personal favorite, the Pair of Anguish. Witchiepoo decides to shrink them all and spirits them away to her castle while Jimmy and Freddie end up in a Scooby-Doo episode. Jimmy, they have very visible eyes and you know everything is alive on this island. Don't turn your back on them.
Jimmy and Freddie just passed through the evil forest.
Hold it, you bobbleheads! Hold it!
Witchy, you mean you're going to let them escape?
Of course not.
Guys, they have not moved. Just step on them. You're giants to them. Please end this movie.
Guards! Bring these mini morons into the dungeon!
Wow, a competent move by Witchiepoo. I'm shocked.
Wait a minute! They might be able to sneak between the bars.
No. I mean, at least they're still in a cell.
Well, that's better, madam. Now we'll be on our way.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This movie is exhausting. Witchiepoo calls her minion Stupid Bat. No, I'm not calling it stupid, that's its name.
Stupid bat reporting for duty!
And orders him to deliver a message to Jimmy. I kind of feel like trusting something important with somebody with the word stupid in their name is just setting up for failure, but that's just me.
Look, Freddie, it's the witch's ship. We can pinch it and sail home.
Did Jimmy forget that the boat was now a sentient ass grabber, or did the movie just decide that wasn't a thing anymore?
PufnStuff and all the good guys have been taken prisoner by the witch.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
No, of course not, because that's the happy ending that I want, and I don't get what I want. Jimmy runs to the castle to save God's mistakes, while Witchiepoo and her friends brainstorm what food to serve at the witch conference.
Thank goodness at least Jimmy and Freddie got away.
I just hope they don't come back and try to rescue us.
I agree, Dr. Al. I also think he shouldn't save you.
I demand you release us at once.
Brilliant plan, Puff. You really had to rub your 2 remaining brain cells together to come up with that one. But you know what? With what we saw so far in the movie, I would be 0% surprised if it worked.
I just planned my din-din.
You can't cook me. I'm the mayor.
A little too much work in my opinion. I still say Brazen Bull, but you do you, Pooh. You know, Witchiepoo, you really should invest in a barbacoa pit if you're planning on cooking all those things in the basement. God, this movie makes me sound like a serial killer.
We'll have to break into the castle some way, and
Why is there a Nazi rat in this kids movie? There are Nazis in this magic world? I was floored the first time I saw this rat. Yes, I know they're the bad guys and the movie is signaling such, but you can show your villains are villainous without dressing one of them like a literal fucking Nazi. I just stared at it. Have you ever seen such audacity? It just leaves you speechless.
hey, look!
Huh, there must be an air show today.
It's hopeless. There's no way we can get through now. PufnStuff is doomed.
Yes!
Yes, I mean, oh no. Jimmy realizes he can dress up as a witch and get into the castle that way. I would say that's a stupid plan and will definitely get him caught, but...
I'm 9, all 9. Seymour, get the broom! I broke another one.
I hate that got a genuine chuckle out of me. Embarrassing.
You look different.
Well, I do have a new rat in my hair.
You had a work job.
Why can't I just have the movie of these 2 witches being bitchy to each other? Wait, why does Witch Hazel look so familiar? Damn, Mama Cass was in this movie and she nearly slipped right by me. Oh my god! I gotta say, out of everything I expected to see in this children's movie, this was not one of them. Granted, it's been about 20 years since I've seen this movie, but I have 0 recollection of this character.
Feast your royal eyes, my queen.
Barbecue dragon. I
had it for lunch.
Why does Witchiepoo want to be accepted by these assholes so badly?
Somebody up there hates me.
Look, I was on board with you, Witchiepoo, until I met your other friends. Jimmy sneaks into the castle dressed as the Wicked Witch and runs directly into Witchiepoo. Nice work, kid.
I happen to be a foreign delegate from British territory.
Oh, apparently Witchiepoo already knew what he was going to say because she's mouthing the words.
Come on, Beetle Doll, you can sit with me.
How has PufnStuff not been cooked to death by now? He has been spit roasting for hours at this point. The witch conference begins and it is just as boring as a real conference until, of course, they get to drinking. Like a real conference. Then Mama Cass sings literally the only good song in this movie. I'm not kidding, it's actually pretty good.
Different is heartache, different is pain, but I'd rather be different than be the same.
Well, because literally no one can execute a plan correctly in this movie, Jimmy is discovered and taken captive and sent to the dungeon. Why'd they ask the West Wind for help, or was that a few scenes ago so he doesn't exist anymore? Jimmy is tossed into the same cell as the rest of the assholes, and of course they're immediately busted out by the gopher because who needs tension? Witchiepoo sells Freddy to the boss witch, the townsfolk escape, and they discover in a talking book that the only thing that can scare off a witch is an angel or a good fairy.
The selection of the Witch of the Year. The winner is Witchiepoo.
It's a dream come true.
Oh my god, that's so sad. Stop making me pity your villain in your movie. The good guys, quote unquote, return to the castle dressed as angels, somehow looking more terrifying than before, and interrupt the witch's dance number.
It's an angel raid!
Is that something that happens occasionally to you, Witchiepoo? While the angel raid occurs, one of the flying angels snatches Freddy, and unfortunately, Jimmy saves Puff. He must not have been in any real danger if he was roasting for hours and didn't even get a little singed.
You aren't angels! It's a hoax! It's a trick!
You don't say! You mean angels just don't randomly show up on this island to taunt you? Witchiepoo chases after the other witches but manages to blow herself up because the movie's over.
When good friends pull together, they can do anything.
That's right.
Well, that's not true. Witchiepoo had her friends/servants with her and they still haven't accomplished shit. And then the movie just ends without Jimmy leaving the island. So he's stuck there with those things for all eternity. Happy ending?
Oh, go home and have a nightmare!
Well, at least Witchiepoo had a good time, and that was the PufnStuff movie. God! I will admit, apart from this movie being so boring and uncomfortable at times, as a whole, I do like Sid and Marty's creations. I admire their dedication and imagination when it came to creating kids shows. I won't pretend I don't find PufnStuff and the villagers of Living Island hideous, but kids in the 70s love them. Scrolling through YouTube comments of this series shows how much PufnStuff was beloved and still brings up fond memories from adults damn near in their 60s. That's something special there, and who am I to judge what made someone's childhood a good one? Rest in peace, Marty. PufnStuff is still scary, though. Well, I have no idea how I'm gonna top this Unintentionally Terrifying, but